Ha, they say that my rise to the top is long overdue. I'm just trying to cop a 3-star Goku suit. Or better yet, a Senketsu that fits over loose. Equipped with a light fiber microphone, my flow the truth. Don't let these haters rule over you like the student council. Cause if they see you making moves, then they'll never doubt you. Keep that scissor blade sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. I'm hungry like a back alley doc eating by the mouthful.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Pull the Trigger on a Podcast, the podcast where everyone just has crab armor.
You just jealous you don't have a gold mecha crab.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have a gold mecha crab.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm Fire Princess Lily, and I am joined, as always, by my friend, Doc Sea Monster. How are you doing, Doc?
I'm really good. I've had a good run of days for a while now, and I'm good.
Nice. Very good. Very good. What have you been up to? Because we haven't recorded in a while for various circumstances.
Well, been doing a lot of different stuff. I haven't been running my online D&D games as much, but I have had more ideas recently, so I should be on track a bit more lately. I watched the first half of the third season of Young Justice.
Nice.
I'm going to go back and watch the second half. I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it a whole lot. It's got a lot of Connor and McGann, and they're two of my favorite characters. Two of my favorite comics characters.
Right.
So it was. I always really liked seeing them in the show, and that episode with Beast Boy was fantastic. That whole entire thing.
It's very good.
Yeah. Let's. And I like the new characters: Forager, Brion, Halo, all great.
Yeah, I really like Forager. Forager's great.
Oh yeah. Especially, and I'm glad that that he's getting treated properly after what happened to him on Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Oh.
That was unfortunate.
Unfortunate indeed.
I as much as I like the Harley Quinn show, they do use the like the third and the fourth string characters as cannon fodder sometimes.
Yeah, they do. It's pretty good.
It's fine. It works for the show. I was gonna watch the first episode of Owl House, but then I didn't.
Oh, it's too bad. Owl House is really good.
I'm going to. I just haven't found the time. Let's see. Watch a lot of bullshit on YouTube. Listen to a lot of music. Oh, I started rewatch. I started rewatching Dirk Gently's Host of Detective Agency with a friend.
Nice.
And that show is really good, despite being made by a shitty person.
Well,
but it's definitely like a group effort. Like there's like the showrunner is a piece of shit, but like there's probably a dozen or 24 other people working on that show, making it good.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Let's see. I had an extremely modern interaction with you a couple days ago.
Modern interaction.
Yes, something that's very much the kind of thing that could only happen right now. It's very present type of thing that happened. I had changed my screen name on Discord in the server we use for RPGs.
Oh, right.
And you thought that was my new name.
Well, I was making sure.
No, it's fine. I think it was a wacky misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I am amused, and I honestly appreciate that you cared to ask.
Well, of course.
Let's see. I went ahead and reinstalled and fully updated Magic Arena. Been playing a little bit of Magic Arena. That's been pretty fun lately.
Mm-hmm. Good deal.
I don't have any decks that are current to standard, but the ones I built are still good in older formats.
Well, there you go.
If you don't know Magic, to keep the tournament scene fresh, once a year the sets only stay in the standard tournament for about 2 years, and then they do what's called rotation. So like those 3 go out, and then the newest one comes in. So it's like there's only like 6 sets in the standard tournament format at any given time.
Huh.
And they just keep rotating them in and out to keep it like a fresh environment. There's other formats where they don't have rotation.
It used to be it was just like whatever the most 3 current sets were plus whatever core was available.
Yeah, it's the same basic thing.
Okay.
It's like, everything that came out in the last 2 years.
So like even if they were going to like a new block, whenever that first set of that new block came out, the most recent 2 sets of the last block would still be valid, but that first block of that set wouldn't. That's how they used to rotate it out.
Yeah, something like that. And all of my decks I made like when Arena first launched, so they're like a year and a half to 2 years old. So they are only legal in the historic format, which does not have rotation.
Right.
It includes all cards released since they started having the Arena program.
Legacy format, basically.
Yeah. And there's like a dozen other formats for like the paper card game, but for Arena it's only standard, which is the most recent sets, and historic, which is everything that's been released since Arena came out.
Right.
Let's see. What else? Yeah. Well, yeah. I finally got to play. I've finally been able to actually play some RPGs, and not just DM, which has been a huge source of enjoyment for me. For a long time, I've been like the majority DM for the play group.
Right.
Because like since the pandemic started, I started the 2 online games, but before that, I was the one who was doing the bulk of the GMing.
Right.
For the local group. And so it's been nice. Let's see. That's about it. I've just kind of been coasting and enjoying it.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah. How about you?
You know, I'm trying to figure out what I want to talk about more because it's been like 3 weeks. Just various circumstances, you know.
Yeah.
Keeping us from recording. So a lot has happened in a lot of different areas of like my entertainment and my life. So it's like, what do I talk about? Because I could talk about something at length, but probably only one thing at length. Let's see. I'll try to keep it concise. I've been watching every Monday. Every Monday I've been watching God of High School. It's the one anime that I'm keeping up with this season because I read the manhwa for 11 years and I'm so excited that it's finally getting, its own show. Like it's time for it to shine. This should have happened a lot sooner. And it's only getting a 13 episode season, which, fine. I'm cool with that. So I understand like when they gloss over something or they change something to make the pacing like a little more snappy, Like I get that. Like I'm not stupid. I'm not like somebody who thinks, oh, well, they could fit all this stuff in 13 episodes. They couldn't. You know, they wouldn't get to where they wanted to get to if they did it, like, if they stuck everything in. Like, you know, so I understand that some things have to be changed and some things, you know, can't be talked about, or some things have to be just, you know what I mean? Like, I get that. You know, that's just being an understanding consumer. However, there are some changes that they've made, and I don't know if you've watched God of High School or if you have the inclination to do so. So I don't know how deeply I can get into this, but there are some changes where I'm like, why? That's so unnecessary. This change that you're making is so unnecessary. Because why? It doesn't. In some ways, it doesn't serve as the story. It doesn't help, and in other ways, it just doesn't make any sense. For example, when they get to the second part of the tournament, which is like a teams division, like I feel like that's not like a huge spoiler. Oh no, they changed the rules from the manhwa. The manhwa was the first team to like lose all three members, like, you know, in the fights, that team's eliminated. But they've made it like the best 2 out of 3. So if like, and it's like 1-on-1. So if you fight and you win, then you can't fight the next person for that, you know, that second victory. Somebody else on your team has to, like, you know, do the job. And so I don't know why they changed that, because it's definitely lessened some story impacts, and they have flat out changed like a couple of the outcomes of matches from the manhwa, and it just I don't get it. It doesn't make me happy, but at the same time I'm still happy that the show exists. But it's just like, you could do this. I could see where you made these cuts, but I could see where you could have still added in these things, kept the pace you wanted, and then it services the story. So, yeah. Maybe I'm being unreasonable. It's possible. I don't think I am, though. Because they took, like... Do you remember in the last Airbender movie where Aang takes Katara's speech to the Earthbenders?
Yeah.
They kind of did something...
I know what you mean.
They kind of did the same thing. A little bit. In one of the latest episodes, where they gave the main character a moment that a side character, well, not necessarily a side character, but like a secondary main character should have had. And it doesn't feel good.
Right.
So there's that. I've been doing that. Been thinking about... go ahead.
There's always those pitfalls when something gets adapted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, anime has been getting better about like not doing stuff like that. But I mean, it only does have like a 13 episode long season, so
I remember some of the stuff that came out like in like the 90s and early 2000s, and like checking out the manga and it being, and either being a fan of the manga and seeing the wildly different anime, or being a fan of the anime and seeing the wildly different manga. Very...
You mean like Trigun or Full Metal Alchemist?
Very, very, very whiplashy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And one of my favorite mangas had a completely terrible anime adaptation.
Which one?
Okay, so my favorite manga during the boom,
right,
was Sorcerer Hunters. I don't know if you've heard of. Do you know Sorcerer Hunters?
I do not know Sorcerer Hunters. No.
It's a really good kind of high fantasy comedy. I don't want to say it's very horny, but it is very horny. Um, not just and not just in the like the main character is kind of like a stock pervert,
Mm-hmm.
but two of the characters dressed as dominatrixes in combat.
Oh.
It's probably a bit more than I should have been rating it. Age 15, 16. But it was good. It was really funny. There was a lot of good moments. The characters are all really engaging.
I mean, I read Hyper Police when I was like 15, 16.
And the anime butchered everything to hell. Didn't even keep I understand changing the outfits.
Oh, I mean, yeah, of course.
But like they were but like the outfits were changed to some like really ridiculous ways, and all the plots were cut short, and the storylines were moved around. Whole characters were cut out. It was a real hack job. They made an OVA later, like a 2-episode OVA that was more faithful, but it was still pretty much a hack job. I still really like that. I still really like that manga, though. I might go back and reread it sometime. It was. I don't know how well it holds up. Probably not very, but I do remember that a major theme was that the ruling class were evil and abused their power, and subjugated and abused most people. So it might hold up better than I think it does.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what else?
Oh, right. What else with me? Derp. I've found out that Adventure Time is my Friends. You know how there are people who are like, they only like watch like Friends and The Office on Netflix. That's all they fucking watch. There's tons of other stuff they could be watching, but hey, you know what's always trusty and good for them? Friends and The Office, even though they're both terrible shows. And that can upset anybody, but but all those characters are absolutely terrible to each other.
I don't usually like shows where the characters are like all assholes to each other, except for Archer. Archer is very good because everybody is an asshole, and everybody's an asshole to everybody else.
Yeah, but
and
that's
it's well written and well performed and funny. It's not just pointlessly mean; it's actually clever.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's kind of the point of Archer. They're like not hiding behind anything,
Yeah, that's part of the draw is that everyone's a complete jackass.
Yeah. So, but that's what Adventure Time is for me because it's on HBO Max. One of my friends has HBO Max and they're letting me use it, and it has all of Adventure Time on it. And and I'm just like, you know what? I could watch right now. I could watch Adventure Time, and I do, and it's still good. Like, so that's my Friends. I've been watching some of season 6. Like, especially when like I'm doing paperwork at work because I'm just like, I've seen it. It's noise in the background, so I can focus on whatever I'm supposed to be doing. So that's a fun discovery. Also, just Adventure Time's really good. So if you haven't watched Adventure Time, you should. It's really good. Like, I know that a lot of people my age, when it first came out, they like checked out during like the first season, second season, because Adventure Time started out as like a lulz, so random show, but like that show got deep. That show got real deep. And I feel like you're doing a disservice to yourself to not give it like another go.
Might go back and check that out because I've seen the entirety of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched it really sporadically after that because I stopped having cable after it came out, about the time that it came out.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I've seen a bunch of scattershot episodes and enjoyed them all, but like I've not done like a full watch through. My shows like that, it's probably a toss up between Steven Universe and Kill la Kill.
Nice. Very cool.
Because, as I've mentioned before, the watch through for this podcast is like the 5th or 6th time I've seen Kill la Kill.
Yeah. Other than that, I have been, I'm on that wrestling hype train. I'm always on that wrestling hype train. And since we've recorded, there has been a lot. There's been a pay-per-view. There's been a couple, episodes of the main show. There's going to be like a special third show, or second show, I should say, coming up this week on Tuesday, which I'll watch, but I'm not like, oh man, gotta watch that, because it's just, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Maybe it'll surprise me. But because of the pay-per-view, I am now blocked on Twitter by Vince Russo, which is great.
What?
Yeah, right? Vince Russo, if you don't know who Vince Russo is, loyal listeners, Vince Russo used to be a big writer at WWE during the early 2000s, because, I don't know, him and Jim Cornette were both there. They both hate each other. It's great. So I'm blocked by two terrible people from wrestling pasts. It's great. But what happened at All Out, the pay-per-view, Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara were supposed to have like a big last man standing match, half of a loser leaves town match, because if Matt lost, he was supposed to quit the company or whatever, which I feel kind of maybe telegraphed the ending just a little bit. I mean, it's Matt Hardy. He could have come back with a different persona and not been like Matt Hardy, but sort of a Cactus Jack situation. But what happened during that match is when they were setting up for one of the initial spots, which is crazy to me. They went on top of a scissor lift. They put it up, and then Sammy speared Matt Hardy off the top of the scissor lift, and they were supposed to go through two tables that are near the scissor lift. That's all set up. They ran through that spot 2 times before they even started, shooting it, to make sure that everybody knew what to do, where to be. And for some reason, I guess Matt had his foot in the wrong place. He was just off by an inch or so. And that changed when you're doing a stunt or a spot in wrestling. Being off just a little bit can have wildly disastrous consequences. And unfortunately it did, because Matt Hardy missed the first table. He went through the second table, but only his lower half went through the second table, which is still a good thing, because if it hadn't been there to slow his descent, I probably would have watched somebody die on a national pay-per-view, because his head hit the back of his head hit that concrete real hard. His head bounced, and for a minute he was unresponsive. And so I thought I'd watch Matt Hardy die, which was terrible. But he did get up, started moving around, and they called the match as a no contest, because he just could not stand on his own. He was talking nonsense. So of course, you stop the match, and in my opinion, they should have just stopped the match and done it again later. Everybody would have understood. But that's not who Matt Hardy is, right? To his detriment, that's not who he is. So after passing a field concussion test, and Matt Hardy has had so many concussions, he could probably do a field concussion test in his sleep. But after passing a field concussion test, they sort of restarted the match and just rushed to the end, where Matt Hardy won. But Vince Russo was on Twitter. He's like, oh, this was so dangerous. This was awful and so dangerous, and they're doing these pointless spots, and eventually they're gonna get somebody killed. So I can't watch AEW, because I couldn't watch a promotion that knows that one day they might get somebody really injured. And so I commented on that, because the hypocrite he is. I said, didn't you create the Brawl for All with the express purpose of hurting one person, just one person? And not only did that one person get hurt, multiple other people got hurt Like, that was your goal, my dude. So what are you talking about? I believe we talked about the Brawl for All on this program, or maybe it was on Gravity Falls. It was a Vince Russo thought that to get ratings, because WWE was still in a ratings war with WCW at the time. So to get ratings, Vince Russo was like, why don't we just have actual real fighting? We'll get some of our lower roster guys, offer them a big cash, money prize for actually just like fighting with each other. And the whole reason he did that is because he heard a wrestler by the ring name of JBL. He's a terrible person, so I don't care that he got hurt. He's an awful person. I don't care when awful people get hurt. But JBL said if we were actually fighting, like if this wasn't like scripted, I could kick everybody's ass here. I would win any fight. And so that's why Vince Russo came up with it. It says he wanted to see JBL get his ass kicked. And he did. So, goals, I suppose. So anyway, I commented that, and somebody's like, he didn't want to see anybody get hurt, and I pulled up an interview where he talks about, I just really wanted to see JBL get his ass kicked and get hurt. And Vince commented I never wanted to see JBL get injured. I just wanted to see him get his ass kicked. In a ring for talking shit. And it's like, buddy, I commented this. I was like, buddy, what do you think an ass kicking is? What do you think happens in an ass kicking? And then I got blocked. So.
That's the I don't inhale of wanting to see somebody. All right, that's the I didn't inhale of wanting to see somebody fucking get injured.
Yeah. What do you think happens in an ass kicking? Every ass kicking that I've been a part of, either receiving or dealing out, somebody gets hurt. That's kind of what the goal is of an ass kicking, That's what it is. And so if your express intention is to see somebody get their ass kicked, you want them to get hurt. That's it. So you can't come out and say that a company who had a bad accident, it was an accident. They had ran through the spot twice to make sure that they could do it. You can't talk about an accident like that in that manner, especially if you're the guy who set up a storyline or an event to see people get hurt. It was your express intention. So, so that's fun. Wrestling's been real good, though. Thunder Rosa didn't win the women's title at All Out, which made me sad, but she's still doing stuff for the company, and they're kind of hinting at a rematch between her and Shida, and maybe she takes the title there. I don't know. It'll be a lot of fun. They had a real banger of a match. It was real good. I really loved it. Orange Cassidy beat Chris Jericho in the first ever Mimosa Mayhem, which I think I explained what that was. I don't know if we got to talk about All Out at all before we didn't record, but it was a dunk tank match, basically. But on each side of the ring was 400 gallons of mimosa. Because Chris Jericho has his champagne called the Little Bit of the Bubbly. Orange Cassidy's all about oranges and orange juice. So Mimosa Mayhem. It makes sense. It's real weird. But he won. It was good. Chris Jericho went into one of the dunk tanks, which was excellent. Honestly, it's a good match. And Jon Moxley kept his world championship title. There was a stipulation that he wasn't allowed to use the paradigm shift, which is his finisher, to beat MJF, but he used it. And I mean, normally that would have meant, because of the way the rules were set up, that John should have lost and, MJF should be the champion. But what happened was Wardlow, MJF's valet, also a wrestler, distracted the ref to throw MJF a ring that he uses to punch people out. MJF fumbled the ring. Moxley realized the ref was distracted, realized MJF was trying to go for this ring. He's like, oh, is that what we're doing now? So he set him up for the paradigm shift to hit it and then got the 1, 2, 3. The ref didn't see it, so it's whatever. And the look on his face was just he just looked at the camera, gave it a smile and shrugged, what can you do? It's the best John Moxley reaction with the camera I think I've ever seen in my life, and he's real good with the camera to begin with. So it was real devil may care. Like, yeah. So real fun. Wrestling's been fun, minus the Matt Hardy thing, but he's okay. You know, he's still alive. No long term damage. We hope. I mean, you know, he's talking fine. Whatever. They're treating it as in the BT storyline, which is kind of important to the overall storyline. When he was talking with the Young Bucks, they're like, "Man, does Matt seem like he's now like he's too normal?" And so it's like, so the storyline might be that the head bump, because you gotta turn it into something, has like put all of Matt's other personalities away. You know, he's too normal.
I guess you gotta kind of just roll with it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, me too. Oh my god.
But now I just really want a mimosa.
Sorry.
Okay, look. So I have this friend,
Yeah.
and actually, you know Haster, right?
I know who?
Haster.
Is that their first name?
Claudia Smith?
No.
She's a convention person.
Huh.
And I had known her for a while. Turns out she actually lives in my neighborhood. And
That's crazy.
Super cool person. And she has a whole bunch of orange trees in her front yard. It's like 6 orange trees in her front yard. And when the oranges are ripe in like November, December, she invites people over to her house. And here's the thing, and then we all pick the oranges. All right, like we have this, so he's like this big orange picking thing, right?
Right.
And once everyone's like picked all the oranges and stuff, we bring them inside, and then we spend the rest of the day drinking mimosas.
Oh, very cool.
The rest of the day.
It's not great, but cool.
It is fantastic. It's and I just realized there's not going to be an orange party this year because of fucking COVID. There's not going to be an orange party this year.
It's just it is unfortunately what it is.
Yeah. Let's quickly just let's talk about another thing.
Okay.
Do you want to hear about the time I got punched in the face at a convention meeting?
Yeah, let's go for it.
What do you know about Onicon?
That I got banned from there for a couple of years for making a joke at a con that I maybe shouldn't have made. On stage, live in front of everybody. I was an edgy kid.
Fun. Onicon has a long and sordid history.
Yeah,
I was on staff for 1 year. Technically 2 years, but for 2 years. And during one of these years, we were having a meeting at the owner's house.
Oh no!
And one of the other people there thought I was like staring at his girlfriend.
And in Texas, that means we need to fight now.
I was actually staring at him because he had a super weird mole on his arm. And like, so he just like popped me in the nose. I shouldn't have been staring at him.
Right.
I know that's rude, but like sometimes when you see something weird, you kind of just gawk. That's just human nature.
That's human nature.
But like, yeah, this guy just popped me in the nose in the middle of everything.
Because when you're a nerd, your ego is a lot bigger than you think it is. Especially if you're dating somebody. So you have to show dominance. Fucking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you got fucking punched in the face. But
okay, but that's a microcosm of me and Onicon. But you said you had gone to A-Con, right?
I went to A-Con like for years and years and years.
Were you ever like a volunteer at A-Con?
Yeah.
Do you know the person who ran the artist alley.
I mean, probably.
That's Haster.
Oh, it's been years.
Yes, I like to apologize to our listeners for me and Lily engaging in past life regression therapy.
But no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. It's just imagining some nerd. I was like, who probably feels like king shit because they're either dating somebody or they're married to somebody, and so they notice that you are looking in their direction. They automatically think that they have to, like, you know, show, you know, that they're the alpha, and they have to punch you in the face for just looking in their girlfriend's general direction, like, fucking.
And keep in mind, when I say this was at a convention meeting at the owner's house, this is one of the other staff members.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have fired him on sight. Been like, no, bye, guy.
The owner of Onicon is a unique person.
I hear that she is.
No, he.
Oh, see.
The original owner of Onicon is a super cool person. She remains a good friend of mine to this day. Like, she's like my big Facebook friend.
Yeah, she's the one who banned me. And you know what? Fair play. I would have banned me too.
No, she's cool. But she got forced out by this guy, and this guy's a huge piece of shit.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, he anyway, okay. Enough speaking of our previous generations. That's like the fifth Doctor, and we're on like eighth right now.
Right, and around there.
That was the Doctor Sea Monster, and I'm on eighth right now. Hey, do you want to talk about Kill la Kill?
Yeah, let's talk about Kill la Kill. We've been talking about everything else.
Yes, definitely want to talk about Kill la Kill because, as I've mentioned before, this run of episodes is my favorite part of the series.
Yes, we are on episode 15. Don't stop me now, because I'm having such a good time. That's not. I mean, the title's just "Don't Stop Me Now." Anyway, just throwing
having a ball.
Yeah, we're having a ball. We open on a big red letter title that just says Osaka. And then it says Osaka in English. I don't know. Okay. So Osaka's burning. Because shit's been nuts, of course. If you remember from the last episode, the Satsuki at her Hinoji Academy have basically started a war with the northern region of Japan. So Kanto, Kinsai, and Osaka. No, one of those is wrong. Doesn't matter.
The Kansai region. It's the
Kansai region. There we go.
Kanto, Kyoto, and Osaka.
There we go. Kanto, Kyoto, and Osaka. So everything's on fire in Osaka because Osaka not going down without like a real fight.
Now they are doing their best.
They're doing their best.
Satsuki hell.
And so, we got the red hair mohawk guy talking with Mitsuki as Mitsuki drives his car into a canal, and through that canal and up to the headquarters of Nudist Beach. What a really weird thing is when he opens his car door, a rubber ducky comes out. Like, I don't know why he just has a rubber ducky in his car. It has the initials NB on it, so it's a Nudist Beach ducky. It's just a weird detail to me. But, yeah. So, everybody greets him, like, hey, welcome back. And he slides off his trunks. Like, so he's just in naked mode now. Then we cut to the title sequence, which... the title sequence is nothing this week. I'm sorry, I watched this when we were supposed to record, so I'm like, I should have rewatched it. So the title sequence is nothing. It immediately cuts right to the battle where, what is this guy's name?
Kaneo Takarada.
Takarada is like, oh, Satsuki, you're looking good. You're like quite the babe now. And she's like, yeah, and you fucking suck even more.
Takarada remains great for someone who's only in like 2 episodes. He is still super fun and memorable.
Yes, absolutely. And he's like, hey, look, we met at like a grade school graduation. You don't remember me? I'm the only other heir that you've pretty much met. And I'm meeting you in person. You should feel totally honored about this. And she's like, yeah, I guess I have a vague recollection of your seedy face. And he's like, oh my God, you still look down on everybody.
Satsuki takes 0 shit from anybody.
She's like, but he's like, you're sorely mistaken if you think you're gonna have your way here. And Satsuki's like, well, what's mistaken is your brain for thinking you could oppose me. Purchasing human life with money? How were you raised to be able to think that that's cool? And he's like, there's no clean or dirty when it comes to money. Money is money. It's like, Japan is split under my family's conglomerate and your family's conglomerate, and so now we're just going to hash this shit out. So if we don't throw money around, who will? And he's like, you've been fixated on your like Goku uniforms, but they are not going to help you out in here, It doesn't matter what I do, what you bring, so long as I throw around enough cash, these people are going to fight for me. In any era, it's money that motivates folks. It's the power of dough. Satsuki is like, oh, okay, well, you are mistaken. And she draws her sword, and we're led to believe that she's made like a bunch of strikes, but, it's all kind of off screen. And, it doesn't look like she's actually cut anything. And Takarada's like, what the fuck was that? What are you doing? And she's like, what I struck was their hearts. And she, hits the hilt of her sword and everybody falls. And she's like, get out of here. Get out of here or I will take your lives. And she swings her blade. It kicks up like a dust devil. And everybody's like, holy shit, we gotta get out of here. This lady's crazy.
Yeah, Satsuki subdues the entire crowd decisively and without any collateral damage.
Yep.
She's the best.
She's the best. And they're like, okay, bye. We're out of here. Takarada is like, oh, fuck. She's like, do you see now, Takarada? It's not money that rules men. It is fear. And he's just like, oh, no. His tower collapses. But he's like, you know what? You think you've beaten me with that little stunt? Which leads to Sagayama be like, hey, man, don't act tough. Your voice is shaking with fear. We get it. You're afraid now. And he's like, oh yeah, I am definitely scared. I'm totally scared. But I'm going to write a check. Or what does he say here? Like, it went by pretty fast. I'm sorry. He says, oh, I'm scared. I'm scared, all right. I'm not going to write a check with my body that I can't cash. And Sasuke's like, oh, are you finally having like a little self-respect? Oh, she says, no, you're not even having like just a little self-respect. You can't, I thought you couldn't get any lower. He's like, yeah, look, my value is about to go through the roof. It doesn't matter if I have self-respect. He hits a button and is immediately brought up by a different tower thing. It wraps him in a cloak, and then it busts through that cloak, and there he is, standing, or inside of, I should say, a golden crab mech.
Yeah. And now, we see Takarada's mech, which he calls a Dotonburi Robo. It is a gigantic golden crab. It is fucking superb.
It is really good. He's like, when you're weak, use something very strong shamelessly. That's what he's doing.
And this moment has one of the dub's best lines.
Okay, what is it?
Y'all just jealous because you can't afford a gold mecha crab.
Why?
Okay, the Kill la Kill dub is a lot like the Yu Yu Hakusho dub. It's great, and like they have fun with it, without like fucking up the story or like the characters.
Right. Okay. God damn it. Satsuki is just like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's great.
Yeah. Satsuki's like, this is pathetic. This is not worth my time. Says this is incredibly tacky. No, Sagayama says that it's incredibly tacky. And he's like, how could you even tell that? You don't have eyes. He's like, yeah, but I can sense it by your aura alone. You smell of your overblown arrogance. Like,
so gaudy a blind man can see.
yes, so gaudy a blind man can see it. And I believe Takarazu says, hey, you want to split the check? He's like, I'm not speaking about money. I'm speaking about your disposition. Your opinion don't add up to jack. And he goes for the attack. It's pretty good. Sagayama says, club members, guard Lady Satsuki. Archery, javelin, discus, shot put, let's go. And everybody else. And so they all throw their attacks at Takarazu. He's like, nope, you jocks ain't worth 1 red cent. And he just knocks them all away. One of the guys he knocks away, he goes, oh, good match, you know. It's like, it's dumb. Takarazu's like, yeah, how do you like that? Your vaulted Goku universe don't amount to jack when they against the Takarada conglomerate, when the Takarada conglomerate decides to go all out. Haha. Go sell them to the Americamer thrift shops. So she's like, you know, and Satsuki's like, one who doesn't know to the fear of clothing mocks it. What's cheap is your life. There we go. Sorry. And Takara's like, yeah, whatever. Here's my Sonari gourd missile shower. And he fires a bunch of missiles shaped like gourds from his back towards Satsuki and Sagayama. And it is a big explosion.
I'm a huge sucker for when a mech shoots out like a billion missiles at once.
Right? He's like, so what do you think of my golden gourd bombardment, huh? Nah. I got plenty more where that came from. And he's just like, he's screaming die over and over again with like yen symbols in his eye. It's great. It leads to like a giant explosion. And he's like, yep, nobody can survive that. I'm awesome and amazing. But as he's looking at the ashes, who happens to just show up? It's Gamagori, and he's in his 3-star Goku uniform. And he's like, so long as Gamagori, draw his breath, I will not allow so much as a scratch on Lady Satsuki.
I believe this is actually one of the biggest Gamagori gets in the entire series.
He's really big here.
Because he's towering over the rest of the Elite Four, and Nononon is riding on his shoulder, and she is smaller than his head.
Than his head, yeah. But Nononon does appear. She's like, you should stop pressing your luck, monkey. All the Elite Fours here, they're in brand new Goku uniforms. And they're like, sorry for the delay, Lady Satsuki. The Kobe and Kyoto school raid brigades have now arrived because they finished their jobs. She's like, good work. This is when Lori shows up, and they're like, here, catch your uniform, Sagayama. And he jumps up Gamagori, who is like, as we've mentioned, 12 feet tall, 20 feet tall. He's huge. This is ridiculous. But he jumps off him, he climbs up him, jumps off him. He leaps to the wardrobe that was like thrown down. And he busts out in a very sleek, new-looking model of his 3-star Goku uniform. It's probably my favorite one that he has, to be honest.
So this is the Blade Regalia Mark III, which is a lot smaller and sleeker than Sanagama's previous suits. It's much more in line with something like Guyver or like a Tokusatsu show. Takarada even comments that he looks like a hero from a cheap TV show.
Yeah, he's like, what is this cheapo hero show crap? That's what he says
It's great.
in the tab. He's like, Sagayama's like, spare me the commentary. You face Sagayama of the Hinoji Academy Elite Four. And there's just a huge star field around him. Because this is as strong as he's ever been. It's like the 3-star Blade Regalia Mark III. But he goes all in, and Nanana's like, wow, he's sure excited about this. And Gamagori's like, well, yeah, this is his job. He's supposed to be. Only for Inui? Is that it? Inamuda. To say a Northern Kanto monkey versus an Osakan monkey. It's a monkey battle royale. And I was like, wow, that's awfully clever coming from you, doggy. Like, she does not care.
Okay, so Nananon and Inamuda have this brief exchange of banter, and not to be het on main, but like based on this sort of dynamic, I'm sure these people have fucked.
I mean, probably. But he makes a comment about how she's a snake.
Yeah.
We cut back over to Sagayama, who is just beating on this crab. Takarada tries throwing his missiles again, but he's just cutting all the missiles in half. Takarada can't believe it. He's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, do you think I would allow you to continue your pathetic gourd shower? You're finished! And he strikes through the crab. Like, for some reason, it just busts out a bunch of golden oil, I guess? I don't know what this is. It's like putty.
Crab, okay, crustaceans.
It's crab goo, right?
Occasionally have, like, fat in them. And it's very slimy and sticky and goopy.
Gotcha.
Like, crawfish, crab, and lobsters all kind of have this weird yellow fat in them sometimes.
Ah, okay. That's just me not eating seafood a whole lot. But,
Cajun.
Takarada's like, hey, here's my crab slime. Once it gets on you, it never comes off. You ain't moving anymore. And Sagayama is like kind of just moving back and forth, and that's when Takarada turns on a flamethrower at the top of his mech and tries to bake him golden brown and delicious. But as he pulls apart the breading, there's nothing inside. That's when Sagayama appears behind. He's like, do you think that your crab paste could coat me? But I mean, it did, didn't it? I mean, anyway. But he stabs his kendo stake up through where the crab paste came out of, which is real weird.
Okay,
it's not a good feeling.
This whole bit is actually one of the worst jokes in the show.
Yeah.
Because the scene is like a reference to anal rape for comedic purposes, and it's super gross.
It's super gross. It's not good.
Like, I really like the show, and I will defend its humor and its like some of its questionable decisions. But like this is no good.
Yeah. So he's doing this. He's just shoving the stick. Anyway, so yeah, he's doing that, and it busts apart Takarada's crab down to it's just like 2 legs, and then Sagayama really shoves the kendo stick all the way. Anyway, and Takarada blows up. I mean, just as mech does. He's trapped in a part of it. And Satsuki stops him from crawling away. She's like, you don't value anything but your own life, do you? He's like, you're looking down on me again. You must be feeling pretty good right now. But this isn't over. Osaka's all about tenacity and conviction. We'll come back. And she's like, yeah, exactly. My intent is not to target you. You're not even who I'm after. Like, you're just nobody. She's like, what did you say? She's like, do you think that I would commit a force of this size of fighting mere students? No, that's dumb. And he's like, what? Oh my god, you're serious? He's like, yeah, where did you get the power to stand against Goku uniforms? Tell me. And he's like, But before he can answer, who busts in but it's Ryoko Matoi. And she's here for one thing. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, hey. Nearly 10 minutes into the episode, and the protagonist shows up on her bike.
Yeah!
With Mako riding bitch.
With Mako riding bitch.
Again, as she always does when Ryuko drives. And I did search for alternative terms for riding behind someone on a motorcycle, and all I could find was that the rear seat is called a pillion.
Well, there you go.
But let's be honest, it's riding bitch.
It is. Satsuki's surprised to see Ryoko. And Ryoko's like, it looks like you're having fun throwing your weight around, Satsuki. Wrecking an entire town, don't you think that's just a bit much? And Satsuki's like, really? You came all this way just to tell me that? And Ryoko's like, she's like, if so, your trip was for nothing. The fate of any who defy me is sealed. and Ryoko's like, I want to change that fate. I want to, gonna make it happen. Oh my goodness.
I feel like I haven't mentioned that Satsuki is my favorite character on the show lately.
Oh, she's real good. But Ryoko's like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
I just bears repeating because she's fabulous.
Yes. So Ryoko's like, you're gonna hand back Senketsu, and Satsuki raises her one-gloved hand and says, oh, so this is what you're after. Oh, okay. You can't take it from me. You're gonna have to fight me for it. Sagayama disposes of that fool, and he just picks up Takarada and leaves. Because it's time for the real fight. Ryoko says, hey Mako, get somewhere safe. She's like, okay. Kagori's like, Mako, what? But Satsuki's like, none of you interfere. They're like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever you got, what are you saying? She's like, can you take back your glove, Ryoko? He's like, yep, I can. She just goes for the attack. And so they go into fighting.
I love the way Satsuki is always playing fucking three-dimensional chess with everybody.
I know, right? It's good. Ryoko's like, damn, your defense is still good. Like, and Satsuki's like, yeah, well, Spirit is the one and only skill you have mastered. Burn. And she immediately transforms her Senketsu, into, its alternate mode. Obviously granting her more power, etc. We go through the big transformation sequence.
And the best pauldrons in the world.
Oh yeah, the biggest and best pauldrons in the world. She has 2 jet engines on her shoulders.
I'm a sucker for a good pauldron, and she has excellent pauldrons.
But Satsuki finishes her transformation, and she's like, you didn't expect me to hold back, did you? And so she's striking at Ryoko, and Ryoko is, to her credit, actually, defending and blocking against this assault. Nana's like, why isn't the transfer student just, transforming now? And Iwamura's like, oh, she can't. She doesn't have, the glove. She needs the glove. Because without the glove, it just will not work right. It will drain her dry of blood too fast to work correctly. Sasuke's like, it looks like you can't transform without this glove. And Ryoko's like, so you transform knowing that? That's Sasuke Kirin for you. Always ruthless. And Sasuke's like, yeah, you challenged me knowing you were at a disadvantage, so don't whine. Do not bitch about this. And Ryoko just says, I'm not whining. She's like, yeah, but you are short-sighted and reckless. This is when the red-haired Mohawk guy, whose name I'll never remember, ever, just shows up. And who else shows up with him? But all of these guys in nudist beach mechs. Mitsusugi, we cut over to him. He's like, your objective is to rescue Ryoko, Matoi, and then get the fuck out of there. That is your entire mission. That's all you have to do. And we watch people getting loaded into these mechs that are very kind of reminiscent of what Takarada had once the crab part was gone.
The DTRs.
Yeah. Mitsusuki says, that said, our good Miss Satsuki probably isn't going to politely allow us to do that, Probably going to be some kickback on this. So we cut back over to Ryoko and all these guys, and she's like, what was your change of heart? Why are you defending me? And he's like, I've got no choice. Mitsusuki asked me to back you up, so that's what I'm doing. She's like, first you attack me, then you protect me. You must keep busy. And he's like, yeah, we have just one objective, honestly, and that is to resist the subjugation of life fibers that Satsuki uses. That's the goal of Nuda's speech. Or at least Mitsusuki says all that. And she's like, wait a minute, that's your name? That's actually your name is Nuda's speech. What the hell are you wearing? He's like, I wish I could have kept playing the lazy teacher forever, but that's no longer possible. Satsuki says, so we finally smoked out, or Gamagori says it, I'm sorry. So we finally smoked out you naked fools. That was the true objective of the Tri-City School raid trip. It was to smoke out the row of force lurking in the shadows behind the Kinsai academies. That is why Lady Satsuki allowed your activities to continue, Mitsusuki. He's like, oh goodness, you saw through me? How impressive. That's the... Imamuda says, that's a plan by Lady Sasuke. It worked perfectly. Well, it was one I put together.
Yeah, this is what I mean about three-dimensional chess with Satsuki. She's got like plans within plans, and it's great.
It's really great. And not only I was like, wow, I'm glad you guys showed up because we were worried that our new Goku uniforms wouldn't get to see any action. But here we are. Here you are. We're gonna fight. We're gonna kick your ass. Sagi was like, do you think a group with a foolish name like Nuda's Beach can thwart our grand design? Fade like the dew before my blade Regalia Mark III. And they all transform. It's a sequence of all of them transforming.
Yeah. All right. And now I've got to talk about 3 new uniforms at once, so I'm going to do these real quick.
Go for it.
Okay, Shackle Regalia is now the largest and the bulkiest of the group. Mm-hmm. It's still kind of an American comic book aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I'd say that the Mark II looks a bit more like Juggernaut than Iron Man, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Pro Regalia, still the sleekest, completely form-fitting, but it's kind of blocky, like a low polygon count CGI.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of made entirely of like glowing lines. It's a bit Tron, and it kind of looks like a hard light hologram.
Yes.
And Symphony Regalia, this one's pretty interesting, because Jakuzure has gone from the biggest uniform to the smallest. It's basically sort of like a flight harness with 2 big jet engines.
Yes.
And we are going to see more of all 3 of these as the episode goes on.
Absolutely. So they all transform. They're the Inoji Academy Elite form. Elite 4 Regalia Mark II. Although Sagayama's in the Mark III.
Yeah.
But they strike a cool, like, Sentai pose, and they're just glowing above the masses. And everybody goes in, we get a panel of them all meeting at once, and then just explosions. Mako runs over to Ryoko, and Ryoko's like, Mako, I told you to get someplace safe. And she's like, duh, I came here because next to you is the safest place. Very straight.
Very heterosexual.
But Ryoko's like, you know what? Okay, fine. Let's transform Senketsu. And he's like, we cannot do that. You do not have the glove. And he's like, I admit that I could transform given, how much of me you've recollected. But without the glove, the bioenergy can't flow. It's, like, not good. She's like, well, just use my skin for what's missing. He's like, no way. That's dangerous. A human skin cannot withstand the energy of those 2 life fibers for even a minute. And so Ryoko's like, hey, a minute's enough. And he's like, oh man, I don't know. He's like, hey, you want to be warned by me, right? So don't worry about me. Let's just do it. I'm not scared anymore. If you're my friend, believe in me like Mako does. Mako's just looking on. And Senketsu's like, friend. It's like, yeah, friend. And so Ryoko goes walking into like the middle distance, where like there's just fire that makes it kind of look like a sunset, and Senketsu is hopping behind her. I don't understand why people think that she's weird for talking to this uniform when they've seen it move on its own.
I think that's mostly just Mako being spacey.
It might be Mako being spacey. So it hops behind her, and they transform together. We get a transformation sequence.
Stock footage, stock footage, stock footage, stock footage.
The only difference about the two transformation sequences this time for Satsuki and Ryoko is the left hand.
Yeah.
You can see the red glove on Satsuki's transformation, and Ryoko's transformation, it's just like a glowing like hand.
Yeah. It's a shining finger, if you will.
If you will. But it is painfully like on fire. She's like, oh my god, this sucks. But she quickly charges in at Satsuki, and Satsuki's like, what the? You transform? You're all flash and no substance like this. And so she charges in. He's like, are you that eager to die, Matoi? She's like, nope, this is how I'll survive. Their swords clash, and she grips Satsuki's gloved hand, the hand with her glove, with this glowing hand. And there's a big white light as I just go to like pencils. And they blow back, and Satsuki is no longer wearing Ryoko's glove. Ryoko's wearing Ryoko's glove. She's like, now that I have it all back, snatching. She's like, now I have it all back. And Satsuki's like, snatching life from the jaws of death, huh? Nevertheless, you still cannot best me. And Ryoko's like, oh, we'll see about that. And the two start fighting.
Okay, so here we have the protagonist and the rival fighting each other at full power while shouting philosophy back and forth.
Yes.
I fucking love anime. You don't really get the you really don't get this sort of thing anywhere else.
You really don't. But Satsuki's like, huh, so you're more powerful now, huh? She's like, yep, that's right, that's what I'm saying. But this is when Mako jumps in, and she's like, that, it has. Don't underestimate Ryoko Matoi, who's fixated by seeing what she wants almost in reach. Gamagori, we cut over to him. He's looking over at Mako being in the middle of the fight between Satsuki and Ryoko. He's like, that fool! Ryoko goes in for a swing, and Mako jumps out of the way. This is when we get more philosophy back and forth, where Satsuki's like, seeing what you want almost in reach, that's pathetic. Don't you forget, have you already forgotten about the rage that you went on earlier when you transformed, like, a couple days ago? Have you forgotten all that rage in your heart that wants revenge for your father? Ryoko's like, no, I haven't, but I'm not gonna live my life like that. I want to live my life the way I want to. I'll live for a desire for what's almost in reach, regardless of the rage. My desire is to take back my friend and protect my friends who are precious to me. So it's just like they keep kind of arguing back and forth like this, as they
just real proper shonen stuff.
Real shonen stuff. But it comes to Satsuki talking about her ambition, and then Ryoko stopping the fight for a moment to say, okay, well, look around you. Everything's on fire and destroyed. Is this your ambition? Is this what you want? It's like, if this is the way you use the power of life fibers, Senketsu and I will stop you. This is ridiculous. You've had your way long enough. And Satsuki's like, if that's the case, prove it to me with deeds and not words. It's really good. And they go back to fighting. Ryoko loses her scissor blade and transforms into her like blade regalia, I should say. I don't think that's what it's called, but the blade transformation.
Senjin.
Yeah, the Senjin. But
When she turns into Laura Kinney.
right. And her blades don't work on Senketsu. And she's like, oh god, transform again. Senketsu Shippu! And she takes to the sky. We cut back over to the Elite Four who are fighting Nudist Beach. Well, we cut back over to Nananon, who knocks out one of the Nudist Beach first. She's like, oh, Lady Satsuki, right on my back. Basically.
I'd like to point out here that Nanonon's line in the sub is Satsuki, climb on me.
I mean, that's kind of what her line is there.
I'm just gonna leave that there.
She's like, just you watch. I'll catch up to her in no time. She's like, perhaps, but like this, can you not get a higher eye level? Perhaps, but like this, you cannot get a higher eye level than mine, can you, Nananon? She's like, don't be silly. So, Satsuki riding on Nananon.
Yes, so Satsuki and Nananon team up to fight Ryoko here. And if you Google Satsuki and Nananon double team Ryoko, you will get some very different results.
You will get some very different results. But they blast Ryoko into the Tokyo Tower. And it's just a really cool action scene of Ryoko dodging, the Tokyo Tower being destroyed. She's using, like, falling pieces to hide behind to attack Satsuki. Satsuki falls off Nananon, only for Senketsu to, like, spit out a line that connects to the Tokyo Tower so that she can Spider-Man her way up there from her shoulder to, once again, attack Ryoko.
The pauldrons double as slash Harkins.
They do. Satsuki lands back on Nananon and is like, come on, let's finish it. The Mohawk guy is like, oh man, I gotta go help Ryoko, but only for Imamuda to get in his way. I'm gonna be honest. Out of all of their new designs, I don't like his at all.
No, it's not. It sucks. Really, yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ryoko's falling. Nobody can go save her because everybody is like being detained by the Elite Four. Senketsu's like, come on, Ryoko, snap out of it. Come on, let's go. He kicks on her boosters to slow her descent. And Mako's like, here, Ryoko, here's your scissor blade. I'm going to throw it to you. Only for Gamagori to get her away. He's like, hands off that scissor. Otherwise, I'll show you no mercy, even if it's you. And Ryoko and Mako just clutches it to her chest. It's like, "Mrr." Which is a real weird line from Gamagori, in my opinion. I mean, I know that later he's gonna ask her out. Sorry, spoilers.
Okay,
whatever. But it's, I don't know.
Over the course of the series, he has this slowly growing crush on Mako,
And it's just weird to me.
Like, I get it, Mako's very cute and charming, but it's just kind of his character arc for like the second half of the series.
You're right. So she's staring him down. Oh man, I lost my. But Ryoko's back up, and Senketsu's like, "Hey, are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Let's continue this." Satsuki walks up. She's like, "Do you wish to end this here in Osaka?" And Senketsu's like, "Hey, bet on me. If we are friends, believe in me." She's like, "All right, yeah, you got it." Tokyo Tower finishes falling. Senketsu transforms the claws into like a single like blade. She's like, still using your Kamui as a blade. That's a wasted effort. And Senketsu cannot be cut by that. And she's like, oh yeah, I know that. And she allows Senketsu to get cut so that her blood sprays into Satsuki's face and she can punch her real good and solid. And she takes Satsuki's blade and holds her at sword point. She's like, nice job, Senketsu. It's like, all the blood I sucked up was collected in that blade. It was an all or nothing gamble, and it worked. He's like, so you heard... She's like, you heard him, right? This blade can cut through your Senketsu. So, we're done here. Well, they're not, because Satsuki turns one of her pauldrons into a drill and pushes it right up to Ryoko's throat. She's like, yeah, my Senketsu can pierce your Senketsu, so we're at a stalemate. Ryoko surveys the battlefield and all her friends, and she's like, hey, withdraw your troops, do that, and I'll lower the sword. She's like, are you sure? You'd be failing to avenge your father. She's like, I can't sacrifice the lives of others to do it. So Satsuki's like, you're trading my life for theirs, huh? I'm insulted by how low a price you think my life is worth. It's really good. But Gamagori's like, Lady Satsuki, please stand down. Yours is a noble goal. You mustn't fall here out of mere stubbornness. And she's like, see, look, even your big dude agrees with me. And so Satsuki lowers her drill, and she says, all students, stand down from combat. We're returning to Honnouji Academy. And Mako shows up with the scissor blade. She's like, here you go. And she's like, thanks. And Ryoko says, hey, maybe it's true that you've mastered that Senketsu of yours. But you're alone. And Satsuki's like, you aren't? It's like, no. It's like, Senketsu and I are 2 in 1. She's like, implying that you've been formed a symbiotic relationship with light fibers. That's a fairy tale.
Also, for like right here, for like half a second, Mako gets this really disappointed looking face when Ryuko says how close she is with Senketsu.
Yeah, I know. It's really good. Satsuki says, you know what, that's a fairy tale, but I shall leave my sword in your care to mark today's battle. I don't need it. And Ryoko immediately throws it to her. And she's like, here you go. She's like, what? She's like, the Satsuki Kirin I know isn't so petty a woman. That she just changed an order she'd given just because she got her sword back. And so, she's walking away, and then there's a big explosion. And we cut to Nananon, who's blowing up Nudist Beach headquarters underground. She's just like, you forgot about me. We're called the Elite Four because there's 4 of us.
I don't know, it's a bitch, and I really like her.
She's really great. She's like, Lady Satsuki, I destroyed the base like you told me to. She's like, yes. Well done. With that, we have crushed the group of fools that opposed us, and we can return to Honnouji Academy. The Tri-City School raid trip has been accomplished, and there's no need to rescind my order to return home at all. It's because I won. She's like, yep. She's like, but I compliment you on your efforts. But your attack was no more than a sneak attack. It will not work next time. And then she flies away on her helicopter as the rest of the students roll away on trucks and such. Mitsusuki says, well, that cost us most of the new speech forces. Still, we should be grateful that we're alive. She's like, you fought Senketsu, you fought Satsuki to a draw. That was impressive, Ryoko. He's like, come with me. He gets super close to her. It's real uncomfortable. He's like, I gave you my word. It's time to tell you everything. And that's where the episode ends. All in all, pretty good episode.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a lot of things that I like about Kill la Kill. The animation, the action, the memorable characters, and the way they interact. Not to mention the comedy. But I just love the over-the-top personality so much. And everybody on this show is so fucking extra. Love it so much. So yeah, this some of my favorite episodes in the series. Like the one before that and this one are really great. As far as the series overall, we're at kind of a transitional period in the plot.
Yes.
With this episode ending, the first half of the series is done, and the next 2 or 3 episodes are kind of a bridge to the second half of the series.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, so we are, I believe we're over halfway done with the series.
Yeah, because it's a 26
episodes? Yeah.
It might be maybe it's like 28. I don't know.
I
don't think it's like 20. I think it's about 26. Most anime are 26. But yeah, we have finished the first half of the plot.
Oh, there is 25 episodes of Kill la Kill.
Right.
I'll check that later. Because I don't know that episode 25 is actually on Netflix. Because the 25th episode is an OVA. So we'll see. Anyway, that's it for this week. So, hey, Doc. Where can people find you online if they want to talk to you about stuff?
I am on Twitter way too much. I'm at Dr. C Monster. That is at DRC Monster. Come and find me on Twitter, where you can see me make one of the worst tweets I've ever made, specifically to start shit.
Oh no! Oh no! You can find me, as always, online at DatFirePrincess, spelled D-A-T. You can find me on the numerous podcasts that I do. I do several of them, although they're not updating quite as frequently because pandemic. You know, it just happens. And yeah, that's it. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Real concise.
I'm going to Whataburger.
Hell yeah! I wish I could. But until next time, everybody, remember, don't lose your way.
Don't lose your way!
Bye.
Bye.
Ha, they say that my rise to the top is long overdue. I'm just trying to cop a 3-star Goku suit. Or better yet, a Senketsu that fits over loose. Equipped with a light fiber microphone, my flow the truth. Don't let these haters rule over you like the student council. Cause if they see you making moves, then they'll never doubt you. Keep that scissor blade sharper than a surgeon's scalpel. I'm hungry like a back alley docky and by the mouthful.